Hey guys, Scott here for the Mental Metal channel and mentalmetaldetecting.com. I got Rocky in the house too. You might hear some heavy panting or breathing in the background. That is not me, that is my dog Rocky. We were just out playing ball, so he is a little tired out and will probably let me know or let you know. Hey, anyway, I did a short quick tip video on this using a soft key to switch between beach low conductors and beach surf and seawater to kind of show you a quick way of kind of switching off between the two programs to get rid of a lot of that noise or that chatter when you hit the surf or seawater, when the waves, when your coil is submerged underwater. It can tend to get noisy if you leave it in beach low conductors, and a lot of people get frustrated with that. But if you switch over to surf and seawater, it quiets the machine down quite a bit. You still have the beach, or you still have the waves hitting the coil that will give you a little bit of chatter, but once the coil's under the water, it tends to get really, really quiet. What I want to do today is just kind of walk you through my settings for the beach low conductors. This is what I use this year. I've seen a lot of other people out there using something similar to this. I've just a couple little differences, not much. I think everybody has pretty much figured out how to use the Manticore on the beach now. So this video is all really for some of you out there who are new to beach hunting, who got the Manticore and just really aren't sure how to use it. The beach low conductors program is probably the best program to find gold on the beach. I have had great success with this machine on the beach. Matter of fact, the last 2 gold rings I've found were with this machine, and I've used both the Deus and the Manticore, my 2 go-to machines. I really like both machines, but I do favor on the beach. I do favor the Manticore for beach hunting. So that's just my opinion, my preference. It doesn't mean the Deus isn't a great machine. I found several rings with the Deus as well, so it's still a great machine on the beach as well. And I actually think the Deus is super deep compared to some of those machines. I think it actually is a little bit deeper than the Manticore as far as depth goes. I've dug some crazy holes with the Deus too, 4 or 5 scoops out of a hole before I found the target. So it happens to me a lot when I use the Deus. It wears me out, but I have the same problem with the Manticore, but just not as much. That's why I think it's a little bit deeper as far as the Deus 2 goes. But for finding gold, the Manticore is the king, in my opinion. So, or queen, if you choose to go king queen. But my beach settings, I see a lot of videos out there. They're very, very similar now. So there really isn't much to really kind of harp on either way. People have a little bit of a nuance different here and there, but not much compared to what most people are using on the beach now. And I'm just going to walk you through my settings in case you're curious on how I set my machine up for the beach. Like I said, I do have a soft key set to switch over between beach low conductors and beach surf and seawater when I do get into the surf line and get under the water. So I'll show you how I do that. But let's just go over the settings real quick. Beach low conductors. This is my favorite program to use on the wet sand. I will not use anything but this, honestly. Obviously, noise cancel, ground balance. Now, one of the things you can do on the beach that does help, and it doesn't hinder the machine that I found, is you can actually turn on tracking, ground balance tracking. So when you do that, you can turn it on and it'll track the ground as you're going along. In the past, people would say if you did that, you'd miss targets because you could miss targets by the time machine reacts to the ground balance. There's a time delay and you could miss a target. I don't think that's the case anymore. These things have gotten pretty advanced, so I wouldn't sweat that. So you can turn it off if you want. If you get a little bit too chatty on the beach, it'll tend to, this might help you a little bit. The one thing I didn't talk about, and that's as far as your sensitivity, I find on the beach that I run mine around 19, 20. I think you can try to get it up past 21, 22, but I think after that it's a no-go. So if you run this around 18, 19, believe me, you're not losing depth. You're still doing pretty good. But I find that I can usually crank out 20, possibly 21 sometimes. 22, 23 is where it gets real iffy for me. But I tend to find myself in 19 a lot, 19 and 20. So I'm going to lower this down for now to keep this thing from chatting, right? Because it's in my garage. So if we go out of here, go back up to our settings again. So ground balance, you can set that to tracking if you choose, if you want. It's not really necessary, but sometimes you may need it if your beach is giving you some fits. You may want to try that first to see if it quiets down the machine. Now recovery speed, I've never needed to use anything lower than 5. I will tend to use 4 sometimes, but I think 4 or 5, you really can't do any harm with that. The beaches I hunt aren't very polluted, so there's not a lot of targets, so I don't really see the need to go any higher than 5. I've used 4 before with no issues, so 4 or 5 I think is probably the optimal settings for the recovery speed. Discrimination pattern. I hunt in all metal modes, so I don't really tend to use this too much for the beach. For Ferris limits, I do have a 5 and 0 set on that. But I do hunt in all metal mode most of the time on the beach. And that's just how I like to set it up. Now, for the Ferris volume, though, I do set this up to I crank it up to 18 because I find on the beach it's noisy. Now with the new Killer Bee headphones, I probably don't need it as high anymore, but I like to hear the iron just so I know that I'm probably up against a bottle cap or something that's, I don't want, but I dig everything on the beach anyway, so I don't even know why I even bother, but I like to crank my Ferris volume up. That is a preference, totally up to you. You can do that. You can choose that any way you want. It's not going to really impact the machine for you. So if you choose to make it higher, that's up to you. If you choose to turn it down really low, it's up to you as well, but it doesn't impact the machine as far as the performance goes. What I like to use for my beach tones, I like to use, I'm getting better with the region all tones now. And so on the beach, it's pretty much a dig or no dig situation, but usually it's an all dig situation for me. I have a custom tone setup for this, but I like to use 2 regional all tones now. And if you go in here, I make my first tone 0 to 1, and I lower the tone of it to, it starts at 0, it ends at 1, the pitch is very, very low, but then the second tone break actually goes up, and it goes all the way up to the top here. So if you edit this, my tone volume is at 25 for tone 1. My tone ends at 1, and my pitch is 25. If I go to the next one, my tone break number 2 starts at number 2. Hopefully you can see that. And the pitch is at 30. But then if you go over, the volume is at 25, it's the max. And the pitch is 50. So you have that big swath in there from 2 to 50, where depending on the type, on how it hits, you're going to get a different sound. But I like it. I really like it a lot. I used it this year, and I really got used to that, and I really enjoyed it. So that's how I set mine up, is a two-tone regional all tones, or 2 regional all tones. Again, this is strictly up to you, but that's how I do it. Some people will use 5, some people 1, 2. I do like the 2 regional all tones this year. It spoke to me when I was out on the beach. I just liked it. Oops. Now your audio theme, you can pick whatever you want here. I typically run mine in normal or enhanced. I just like the way enhanced sounds, but it's not really, enhanced really isn't made to benefit you on the beach, but sometimes people may choose that. If you click that, my profile is medium, and my threshold pitch, if I choose a threshold, it will be at 8. I usually don't use a threshold, but sometimes I will if I feel like I'm not hearing it or the machine's not working right. I'll want to turn it on just so I know the machine's doing something. But I don't typically run a threshold, so it doesn't really matter what you have here unless you do turn on the threshold level. Then your pitch is going to be whatever you make it. You can make it 8 or whatever. But I do like the medium profile. That's what I typically set mine up for. And then multi-IQ, obviously, nothing really new there. And then for the general settings, I do run my Ferris indication on, so the red numbers are on. But I do have soft keys set up. And the one thing I will tell people that they may not, or they may overlook, if you're using the, let's see if I have them anywhere I could show you real quick. I don't have them out here. But the yellow headphones that you get, or you use for the default headphones from Minelab, the underwater headphones, you may want to underwater boost them to give them a higher volume in the earphones, because you'll find that they're going to be pretty quiet or pretty dull. But if you do the boost, turn on the underwater boost, it will enhance the sound of those headphones and make it louder for you. So that's one thing a lot of people don't do or overlook, and I did that several times where I forgot about that feature. So it's just something to remember that it's there for you. If you need an extra boost in volume, you can do that for the Minelab headphones. All right, so then I have a software key set up, and so if you go in here, I actually have my bottom right button, and I did a quick tip video on this, set up to be my favorite mode. So what I typically do is I start out in beach low conductors, and then I will actually go over to beach surf and seawater and make it a favorite. So what happens is when I'm in my program of my choice here, which right now, if we go back down, I'm in beach low conductors right now. But let's say I'm getting closer to the surf line. I want to hunt in the water instead of configuring it, switching over, manually doing it. I just hit the soft key that I set up for favorite mode. And that puts me, if you didn't notice the change, it actually puts me in a different program. It puts me in my favorite program, which is surf and seawater. And you can do this vice versa. You could set up surf and seawater as your main program and then make beach low conductors your favorite program, and it'll still work the same way. But that quickly gets me over to that surf and seawater. And I don't really do anything different in the basic setup of surf seawater. So I found it works great just by the standard basic setup. So I don't mess with anything, so there's no sense of me walking through that with you. But that's how I do it. Now, if I want to go back to my low conductor, beach low conductor program, if I'm in here, I just hit the star again, the favorite mode, and now I'm back into my beach low conductors. So I can surf simultaneously from the wet sand, where I'm in 90% of the time, all the way up to the waves and the surf and taking my coil underwater. I can hit that with one button. I'm ready to go. I'm rocking it. So it's really, really easy to do it that way, and I find it to be very, very convenient. And I got a cricket in the garage, and Rocky is checking out where that cricket is. Let's see if we can hear it again. Cricket's not going to do it. Anyway, but that's really all I had to show you in this video. I wanted to show you how I have my setup for this Manticore on the beach. Really love the machines. They're a fantastic machine for beach detecting. Highly recommend it. You know, if you're looking for one of these machines, I know who can get them for you. My friends over at Fort Bedford Metal Detectors, all right? So thanks for watching this video today. I really appreciate it. Rocky and I thank you, and we'll see you in another Mental Metal video. Thanks for watching.